Good morning. It is Monday, June 9th. This is the Automotive State of the Union. I'm Paul J. Daly. It's Kyle Mounts here. Today we're talking about Rivian building a platform for VW, Waymo's getting burnt to the ground, and back to school in June.
Why not?
Feels like
a normal Monday in automotive.
Yeah. In the country, whatever. I know.
You know,
it's like
just what we deal with.
Used to it now.
Welcome to it.
I know.
Hey, look, I just want to be so mad with you for a moment.
I know why already.
I don't think you do. Maybe you do.
Okay.
About your post about Charles Ingalls on this weekend. That thing should have raged.
Let me give you some data.
Podcast.
It was, and I felt like even writing that post was a part of I could really go hard on this.
Yeah.
And Chris Reeves was like, we should just. He's always wanted to start a podcast where you just analyze episode by episode Charles Ingalls and what he did and how he responded. So get that this post, Charles Ingalls is my aspirational identity with a picture of Charles. It's got 29 likes. That's it, which is really low. It's got 9 comments, 1 repost. It only has 654 impressions.
That's so
LinkedIn
dumb.
Hates Charles Ingalls.
LinkedIn is against Charles Ingalls. It's like, no, that's too much man for one LinkedIn post. That's exactly what it's saying.
I know. But look, if you want to get on the Charles Ingalls wagon train, go for it. Just go over to my LinkedIn and just look like 3 posts back and you'll see what we're talking about. Or even better yet, just go listen to last Saturday's podcast from a couple days ago, the last episode of this podcast, where it all kind of came to fruition. Speaking of podcasts, we have a new episode of a SodaCon Sessions coming out. This is where we set up a podcast stage live on the floor at a SodaCon and had some amazing conversations live and in person. This one is solving the inventory puzzle with tech and data. This is with Patrick Janes and Derek Hansen of V-Auto. Great conversation. Interesting. I'm not an interesting topic, super hot topic. With some people who have access to a lot of data and a lot of dealers across the country. So you can find that just by searching a SoTuCon Sessions. If you search a SoTuCon, it'll probably be one of the first 2 results on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you.
I love all of our sessions at a SoTuCon, but the podcast sessions are particularly unique in that
because they're sharp.
They're shorter. They're also like just very relaxed. And it feels like you actually get to talk to the person, which is really nice. And just that ambiance of like being in the expo hall and things happening all around it is
got a vibe. Nice. It's got a vibe. All right. Speaking of a vibe, the tech partnership between EV and upstart Rivian, EV upstart Rivian and legacy automaker Volkswagen just took a major leap forward. Rivian's upcoming R2 SUV platform won't just support Rivian's own vehicles. It's about to become the backbone of every new EV under the Volkswagen Group umbrella. All VW brands, Audi, Porsche, Lamborghini, Scout, Skoda, and Seat will share their R2 tech stack. VW's ID Every1, that's every and the number 1, will be the first to launch using Rivian's off-the-shelf zonal architecture. The partnership's helping VW replace its very troubled Cariad software division with a proven modular platform. Rivian's chief software officer confirmed that all VW EVs will use the same scalable architecture, calling it the digital brain of the portfolio. Each brand is keeping their identity with a custom UI, tuning, and features, but the tech core is unified.
Yeah, except for the identity of the Scout, it's basically a Rivian with a couple more boxy edges.
It is like as Rivian as it gets now that we know that the brain is going to be a Rivian.
It's kind of ridiculous. This is what Rivian, we talked about it almost 3 years ago. This was always the project. Be the skateboard, right? Be the underlying tech for other manufacturers to sit on top of, build on top of. And for VW to lean in when they've had problems already, bringing things to market on their current tech platform is so smart. And look, if you ever been in and around a Rivian, those things are smart. They are easy to use and they feel great driving. So
very refined.
There's no reason why this wouldn't be a great partnership.
Very refined. It'll be interesting to see if they ever license the tech to other automakers.
Right. Yeah. Like,
I mean, there's a lot of blue sky out there.
The skateboard for like the entire industry.
I mean, they built a quality product from the ground up. So
they did.
We'll see what happens with VW. Is this going to help? Is it going to hurt? But I don't think. I think it's always good when we get a really nice tech stack UI capable piece of architecture coming into a vehicle.
Yes,
because
it would be nice to have more of those.
Yes. We've having less of those.
Oh,
So our producer Nathan said he was
like since the moment that I got in a Waymo, things have gotten weird.
Please. At least 5 Waymo self-driving I-Pace EVs were destroyed, burnt to the ground, graffitied, the whole thing during violent protests in LA over the weekend, representing a possible 5% loss of the total fleet. The unrest following the ICE raids escalating into clashes with police, including a lot of vandalism. Rioters reportedly summoned Waymo vehicles. They actually got them lined all up in like a 50-yard, lane there on the road. They slashed the tires, smashed the windows, graffitied them, and then set them on fire. Fire crews couldn't access the scene in time, so the vehicles burned down completely. Remember, these are EVs, so you have the battery fire, you have the toxic gas, you have all of the problems. Waymo operates about 100 cars in LA, 1,500 nationwide. I saw a stat accounting for 20% of all ride-sharing rides in San Francisco. Waymo has suspended service in the area completely, saying we will not be serving any rides in the protest area until deemed safe. So, I mean, we talked about how easy it is to cut off a Waymo car in traffic. Well,
apparently it's easy to set them on fire and
some cars to burn, dial them up.
This is so stupid.
Yeah, I think
that's my commentary.
Pretty much all we can say. Nathan watched this live, and he said there was like explosions, like little explosions coming from the car because obviously the battery is
because of the battery. It's like, golly, guys, this is it's just silly. It's just humans being silly. Waymos are wonderful to drive in. I'll claim that. And it's just silly. Move on. Speaking of silly things.
Oh, man.
Segue.
This is so silly. Gotta lighten the mood a little bit.
Come on. Back to school deals have crept into early summer with brands and retailers scrambling to catch up to shifting consumer habits and tariff-driven inventory pressures. Retailers like Amazon, Walmart, and Wayfair kicked off fall prep as early as Memorial Day. I mean, the kids just got out of school, fam.
Some aren't even out of school.
Prime Day in the middle of July now marks the unofficial start of the back-to-school shopping season. This year, shoppers are favoring essentials and budget-friendly items over big-ticket dorm splurges. Kasi Socha of Gartner said that consumers are looking for the best discount, the best sale, and the best value. It's like she said the thing that we've always been asking.
Well, I think
I'm chippy on this Monday.
Yeah, a little bit. So, I mean, I think it's actually a positive indicator that people are buying, not that they're looking for discounts, which is always like the position of any consumer, but I think it's like a little indicative that people have some spending money.
Yeah.
Right. No, because if you're buying 4 months early, 3 months early, whatever it is, it means like you're willing to get the deal, but you also aren't like pressed against the wall where you're like, we'll worry about that when we have to worry about it. And you're buying ahead. So I think it's like a good retail signal.
And to the point of tariffs and the question that's still looming on whether or not things are going to go into play, how it's going to play into the market and the pricing, accelerating demand. It'll be interesting because like trying to accelerate demand is something that what happened in the auto industry in March and early April. We talked about it last week again. And all of a sudden you start to see waning demand because you had too many pull aheads. It's the same thing in that retail sector. So I think, for all of the excitement that any marketer or sales operator can get around bringing forward demand, you also want to make sure that demand is spread out over the regular season. So, managing that flow across this summer, just because you are going to have these peaks and valleys that are going to come, is going to be an important way to like manage inventory, manage demand, manage marketing spend, to make sure that you constantly have a balance. Because we do run in these 30-day cycles. And, if you pull ahead the entirety of the consumer purchasing behavior into the front of the summer, then you're not going to be left with anything in August.
I wonder if there's like an element of texture to this because, we saw a lot of retailers pre-buy when they knew the tariff conversation was ramping up and it was coming, where they bought, lots of goods ahead of time, are storing them in warehouses. And now there's like a little pressure, like how can we get rid of some of this, or how can we liquidate some of this because they're holding it. Maybe the tariffs aren't what they thought they would be, because I have a really hard time thinking that this early in the season, like the very beginning of the summer, I don't think you're going to see any Walmart or Target surrendering any shelf space, or at least premier shelf space, to like notebooks and pencils. Instead, it's going to be bathing suits and swimmies and sunscreen and all that stuff. And I think the same is the case with the digital landscape, right? Like Prime Day, like how much are you going to lean into back to school supplies as opposed to like jam boxes and bathing suits and all the things that people want in summer? I think it's being a little bit driven by the fact that it's hard to watch a full warehouse full of goods that you're like, I know
Just
we bought
hang
these
out
ahead
and
of time, but maybe we
Yeah,
could sell a little
yeah.
bit of them.
Heard on that. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But all I know is that it's Monday in the car business.
Come on, I'm
which
ready.
is a pretty awesome day for it to be in the car business, coming off a great weekend. Look, we hope you realize that people are the ones that are going to fix your problems, not insights, not data. The people leverage the
Absolutely.
insights and the data. Take care of the people. They'll take care of you. We'll see you tomorrow.